Wario. The self-styled rival to everyone's favorite adventuring plumber is the Mushroom Kingdom's greediest, portliest, and grossest citizen. From his entrepreneurial outings in WarioWare to treasure hunts in Wario Land, Wario's adventures have been favorites of mine for a long time. Wario's all about self-preservation. He's in this for himself and nobody else unless they can serve his own means. From taking over woods to raiding pirate castles, Wario wants what you have and will go to great lengths to take it from you, especially if it's shiny. Super Mario Land 3 Wario Land, one of the Greedy Goon's first adventures, allowed us to play a game where we didn't rescue a princess or save the world. The goal was to steal the Black Sugar Pirate's treasure for ourselves, and get a new castle after Mario stole his own back at the end of Mario Land 2. It was a great game that introduced me to the concept of collecting things. In order to get the best ending, Wario needs to collect all of the treasure of the pirate island and hold on to as many coins as he can until the end of his adventure. Then a magic genie will build him a castle on the moon if you play your cards right. I'd never played a game where the goal wasn't just beating the levels and bosses. After all, Mario Lands 1 and 2 were like that, and those were my first Game Boy games other than Tetris and Wave Race. Wario Land played familiar enough to Mario's outings that the concepts it introduced to my childhood self didn't feel too foreign. Wario gained powers from garlic like Mario did from mushrooms, and when he was tiny, it meant that he could die. But using coins to activate checkpoints and trying to find every last treasure were new, interesting, and rather addicting concepts. Sequels would come on the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and even on Nintendo's crazy goggle set, the Virtual Boy. While each of these games evolved the series gradually, the main goal was still the same: get the money and run. Any saving of princesses or tribes is purely coincidental. Wario's greedy antics in the Wario Land series halted for a while in 2001 when Wario Land 4 dropped for the Game Boy Advance. Other games starring the glutton of course came out, but it would be 7 years before a new game in the Wario Land series arrived, and not on a mobile console. Wario Land Shake It was released for the Nintendo Wii in 2008, and it's the first and currently only Wario Land game available for play on a home console. Developed by Goodfeel, who would later go on to develop Kirby's Epic Yarn 2 years later, Wario Land Shake It is a faithful adaptation of the old-school platforming mechanics a lot of us grew up with, and of course it's mixed in with a little bit of that Wario charm we've grown to love. The game opens with a simply beautiful animated cinematic, and it's no surprise it looks so good, as Production IG, the guys behind Ghost in the Shell and other gorgeous animated productions, were responsible for these cinematics. The story is simple. Inside this ancient globe lies the Shake Dimension, which has been invaded by the evil Shake King. The Murphles, these little bird-like fellows, have been rounded up by the Shake King's minions and their queen captured. The king takes the bottomless coin sack, a treasure of the Shake Dimension, and proclaims himself the new ruler. A single Murphle escapes and seeks help. In the real world, Captain Syrup sees what's happening and steals the globe. Meanwhile, Wario's napping in his car, of all places, and the globe arrives as a gift from Captain Syrup. After trying to smash it, the escaped Murphle finally gets Wario to agree to help, even if the only thing that got his assistance was the mention of the bottomless coin sack. Again, Wario serves his own ends. Wario can transport into the globe through a magic telescope and begin his hunt for the Murphles and their treasure. Longtime fans of Wario Land will remember Captain Syrup, who played the role of the villain in the first 2 Game Boy Wario Land games. Her Black Sugar Pirates are the ones who Wario robs in the first game and who steal back from him in the second. Naturally, there's a small grudge between the two, but she seems willing to help Wario this time around. But she's probably got an ulterior motive. Unlike Wario's last console outing in Wario World, Shake It is a Wario Land game through and through, with old-school 2D platforming mechanics perfectly in place. The game is played by holding the Wii Remote sideways, similar to the way Super Paper Mario is played. The 1 and 2 buttons jump and dash, and everything else is done by motion. And I know what you're thinking, oh boy, another Waggle Fest. Thankfully, that's not the case in Wario Land Shake It. In all Wario Land games, you're able to pick up and toss enemies, and the mechanic is in place here. However, this time, not only can you aim your toss by rotating the remote, you can also shake it to shake what Wario is holding. While this is typically used to shake coins free from the coin sacks littering each stage, shaking an enemy can remove their protective armor or shake loose a clove of healing garlic. I didn't shake too many enemies though, cause I kinda feel bad for him. Like, look at this little guy. He's scared for his life. Oh well. Some of the enemies are kinda lame. I know Wario's had some sucky enemies that didn't do much before, but the majority of foes you encounter are these harmless little guys. Bumping into them does nothing because a foe needs a weapon to do damage, which makes sense. But these guys are simply cannon fodder for Wario, and they litter every stage. Wario's main goal, or rather the means to his greedy ends, are the rescue of the captured Murples, who are trapped in cages at the end of each level. In order to return to his world, Wario must rescue the Murple and make it back to the warp gate he arrived in within a set amount of time. This means after finding a way through the level, Wario has to backtrack. Now I know that sounds a little annoying, but it actually isn't. Hear me out. There's a strict time limit in place, so there's not a whole lot of time to sightsee on your way back, but new paths will open up and other paths will close. See this blue block? These are open before freeing the Murple in the stage. These red blocks are open while trying to escape. While on some of these alternate paths on your way back, you'll find more money, treasure, etc., which means Wario can either take the time to load up on coin and loot and run the risk of failing the level, or play it safe and book it back to the warp gate. I mentioned the coin sacks a little bit ago. In previous Wario Land games, the ending is really the only thing that changes based on how much coinage Wario manages to snag, such as the castle you get at the end of the Game Boy original. However, in Shake It, collecting wealth and spending it is the only way to advance. Our old rival, Captain Syrup, supports Wario by selling him area maps, health meter extensions, and recovery potions. These maps unlock the next continent to explore and are pretty expensive. Within each level are several missions. Returning with the Murple within a certain time, not taking damage, not killing an enemy, destroying all the bomb blocks, etc. They're actually pretty fun objectives to clear that don't affect the main outcome of the game, but for the completionist in each of us, they are pretty fun to attempt. They're also very hard. The time trial ones for me were the most difficult. Also, of course, it wouldn't be a Wario Land game without treasure. Each level contains 3 chests filled with some sort of goodies for Wario to grab. From old curry to crystal skulls, the treasures are unique and fun to collect. Chests are typically out of the way to find, which requires Wario to explore each level in order to find them. This is the aspect of Wario Land I've always loved. The treasure is always kind of hidden away, and you don't always just stumble upon it. It's rewarding when you get to open a chest, and funny to see what crazy items are considered treasure in the land of the Murples. There's also some chests that you can only get to during your escape with the Murples, so again, there's some risk versus reward elements that Shake It pulls off very well. As you've no doubt noticed, this game does run in widescreen, however at the same time it doesn't. Outside the action safe areas are only a background and icons indicating your missions and collected treasure. While this is nice and it keeps the icons out of the way of the action, I would love to see Shake It in widescreen. The gorgeous animations, hand-drawn levels, and other assets would look great filling up the whole television. However, this is kinda minor. I soon found myself not really caring about this little display issue. But I know the game has gotten a lot of flack in the past for not displaying in full widescreen. Either way, the amazing animations for the characters are a pleasure to look at, filling the TV or not, and it really shows the attention of detail put into this game. The presentation really is top-notch, and while I do love the music as well, it didn't feel like a Wario Land soundtrack to me. Now maybe that's because Wario was playing a reluctant anti-hero this time around. The tunes are damn catchy and very well done, but a departure from the off-key, eerie, diabolical tunes of the original game. Again, Wario was robbing Captain Syrup in that game. This time he's treasure hunting and saving a race of bird people, so the situation warrants some new tunes, I think. There are other motion-based controls in the game other than shaking enemies, and they work pretty intuitively. Unibuckets and rocket buckets are controlled by rotating the remote to either keep your balance and adjust your speed, or to adjust the trajectory of the thrusters. Also, Wario's been working on his acrobatic skills with these wires in several stages. Just shake the remote a little and give Wario a good old spin and up he goes. He normally lands pretty gracefully too. There's also the Earthshake Punch that moves objects and stuns enemies that can be performed anytime the gauge at the top of the screen is full by shaking the remote once. This is really fun because it always affects the environment in different ways. Lastly, there's the submarine levels, where tilting the remote adjusts your aim and direction. There's only 3 of these underwater levels, but they do help break up the platforming sections nicely and typically reward you with a good bit of coins for your time. With huge, challenging boss battles awaiting at the end of each area, Wario Land Shake It provides a perfect amount of challenge for both new players and old school platforming fanatics. There's also secret levels hidden in each area as well, providing even more treasures to find and missions to complete and new challenges to be had. The 7 years off between Wario Land 4 and Shake It were well worth it because this game provides a little bit of the motion control the Wii is known for, and plenty of the old school style fans of the series love so much. This game only cost me $10, so if you can find it, I highly recommend picking it up. It's Wario Land Shake It on the Nintendo Wii.